Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're looking at Evelynn clears. We're going to be trying to figure out why you might be struggling in your clears and what we're exactly supposed to do with them. So let's move into the first one. Alright, so the first thing we have is the blue clear, where you start blue buff and then you continue down. So you just start off by kiting the blue buff, just hitting it, avoiding damage, whatever. Cool. All of these clears will be leashless, and we will have a bit differing scenarios, but the tips are the same anyway. So the main thing to note when you start blue buff is how many E's you have per camp. So on Gromp, you will have 2 E's, or on Gromp without Smite, you will have 3 E's you can use, but on Gromp with Smite, you will have 2 E's you can use. So you want to time that in that way. So the last E you end up holding, like so, and that lets you get to your next camp a bit faster. On Wolves, you always have two E's. That's why it's not worth it to wait for passive for your E, because even if you wait for your passive, you will still only have 2 E's. You want to hit the big one as much as possible, but if it's going to take you a few seconds to be positioned to hit the big one, then you can hit the small one once. Then on Raptors, there's nothing really too special. You just want to make sure you hit the big Raptor, and you should be fine. And then you want to position next to the wall, to red buff, so that you can actually reach the red buff with your Q and you can pull it closer. So then the red buff is just kiting. You just make sure that whenever it hits you, you just kite it for a while. You will take a bit less damage. That's like fine. You can also not do that if you want to be lower HP, but up to you really. Could have kited a bit further, but whatever. And on Krugs, there are some interesting tricks. If you smite Krugs, then you should hit the small Krug 3 times, so that all the Krugs split at the same time. And if you don't smite Krugs, then you should hit the small one once, and then focus the big one. And then all the Krugs will still split at the same time. But either way, that's the blue side sort clear gone through. And now we can look at the next one, which is the Raptor start clear, apparently. Now let's look at red next. Standard clear. Standard red clear. Alright, so this time we have the red clear. And I just like warm up a bit before I do it. We'll get into it in a second. And what do we have here? Alright, so we start off with just kiting the red buff, same as when we were clearing it before. And we smite it because we always smite if the buff is above 600 on the first clear. Like, you never really want to finish the buff with smite up if the buff was above 600 after release. Then here we can just hit the small one once, but I keep forgetting to hit the small one. So then I tried to E the small one, but it made me auto attack it as well. Because when you E, it tries to input auto attack anyway. So I overkilled it, so I ended up killing it a bit faster than I should have. Auto attacking the small one and Eing the big one, or just Eing the small one and auto attacking the big one would have both been fine, I think. Either way, the Krugs would split at the same time, but small mistake. When you're transitioning to this camp, there's nothing to really say because these AoE camps are pretty simple. You just focus the big one and that's it. And then here you can pull the camp kind of far and you can get closer to Gromp, and that way you can do the Gromp before the blue so that you have a bit better sequencing on your next clears. And you just kite the Gromp and cancel some auto attacks for fun. And I chose to smite this because I didn't smite before, I think. Or no, that's not the spot. There was another one where I decided to do that. But yeah, this one is whatever. Either way, I lost a few seconds on this clear, I think, because of Krug, small error, and not pulling camps completely. So I think like 315 or something is completely doable on this. On the blue clear that we did right before this, I think that 305 is completely doable. At 305 you can be done. This is 308 or something that you can be done, but you can be done at 305. Then we have the Raptor clear. This is one of the leashless clears that people like to do. I messed this up and I hit the Q too early, so I ended up hitting a small one instead of the big one. And as I said, you want to, on all of these AoE camps, just make sure you always hit the big thing. But yeah. Could have done it a bit better, but whatever. I prefer to go to Krugs first and go to red, because that way you have a choice whether you go bot lane, mid lane, or you go top side, and you also have a bit better sequencing on your camps, and I quite like that. And here you can also see that I auto-attacked the small Krug a few times, so we do have a bit of a better split than when people have one of the Krugs live way longer than the other one. It's still not quite the best of the best. And you just kite this. And I should have smited this, but I think I didn't want to smite it for whatever reason. I think my scenario that I had here, if I remember right, was something like, okay, well, I'm worried that maybe enemy jungle will try to invade topside, so I want to keep smite so that I have it for one of my camps or whatever, right? Something like that. Either way, you can adapt your clears pretty decently with smite, because smite should really be used to secure your camps and stuff. It shouldn't really be used to optimize your clear by like 2 seconds if there's like a chance of invade. But yeah. So here I just say, okay, well, I just smite this because there is no reason for me to smite at the end. I can just smite at the start because I know I'm going to get invaded in practice tool. And nothing to really add here. It's mostly the same stuff. You just kite the camps and chill. But yeah, this clear is something like 320 the way I did it, but I think you can also get this clear to, I don't know, like let's say 3 seconds faster or something if you get it really well. And could be okay. And the last clear that we have is the wolf start clear. This clear starts a bit later, so let's skip a bit. Okay, so you again focus the big wolf at the start. Like usual. Focus the big one. I think this clear was actually pretty decent if I remember right. This one I actually didn't grief. But yeah, you let the jungle camp kill it, because jungle camp does, or well, jungle pet does 2 auto attacks after your thing. You don't need to smite wolves because kind of pointless, so I just smite grump instead. Generally, if you want to maximize your clear, you just want to smite the thing that's alive on its own. For example, if the wolf was alive on its own or something, or the grump or something, and you smite the thing that has the least HP because you have percentage HP damage in your kit. So yeah, we just kite the blue buff around. Here, it would have been better if I somehow timed it so that I have my E up when the blue buff is dying. But I didn't really do this clear too much, so I don't really know the timing. So it's a 1 or 2 second gap or something. You can get it a bit faster, so because of the move speed. But yeah, this is fine. You just transition this. You don't skip red buff this time because then you are making your clear pretty awkward. But you can do the raptors into Krugs into red, but it's a bit more awkward on this side. But yeah, I choose not to smite this because now I wanted to showcase doing Krugs with smite up. And look, you smite the big Krug, you auto attack the small one, and then you auto attack the small one again, and you auto attack the small one again. And now look, they split at the same time, and bam. So yeah, this clear ended up being like 318. It could have been like 315. But yeah, basically the only clear that's sub 310 for Evelynn, leashless, is the blue start clear. And it doesn't make too much of a difference if you get a leash or not, but I mean, it can make like a few seconds of a difference. Rather, the thing is, all of these clears are basically the same. They're like 315, except the blue start was just 305 or whatever, because it's just the fastest one. But yeah, these are all the tricks you really need to know for clearing an Evelynn. Mainly for the first clear. where, as I said, you count Gromp E's, so Gromp is always 3 times that you can E. You count Wolf E's, you can always E 2 times on Wolves. You always focus the big Wolf and the big Raptor. You transition into red buff by aggroing it, and the little tricks for getting the Raptors to split at the same time. And the rest of it is just kiting. And if you can do that, then your clear should be doing pretty good. Okay. Well, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.